right, welcome everyone to a special edition of the Data Insights podcast, where we're focusing on Women's History Month and inviting some of our friends and females in the industry to chat with us about being a female in leadership. Today I am excited to welcome Allison Yokum from the Galley. She is the Director of Purchasing and Distribution, and she's going to be chatting with us about a few of her experiences within leadership. Welcome, Allison.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Fantastic. Well, if you will, start and tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the role that you're in today, and just some of your roles and responsibilities.
Yeah, so I graduated from Oklahoma State University, and I actually have a degree in hotel and restaurant management. Early in my career, the first company I worked for, I was tasked with managing our inventory without a true inventory management system and software. So during my time there, I helped implement an inventory management system, and I also restructured the logistics department. That company was sold, and I had the opportunity to take my skill set in the accounts payable side, which I had also done at my first company, and to the next company I worked for. And there I honed my skills and enhanced my leadership skills there. And now I'm at the Galley. And when I started here, I implemented and I now manage our inventory management software. I also oversee our distribution center as well.
Awesome. So slightly different from hotel management, but
Yeah. Yeah, I really learned a lot in the restaurant industry from my short time there, on the inventory management side and purchasing. That's actually a really big part of restaurant management.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, tell us a little bit about what excites you about the impact that you can have in your organization today.
Yeah, so one thing that I love about the Galley is everyone who works here has a voice and we all have a seat at the table. Our executive leadership team, their doors are always open and they're always available, whether we have an idea, a suggestion, a question. Nobody is unheard in this organization. Culture is really important here. And without culture, you don't have innovation. So I'm currently responsible, like I said, for managing our inventory and distribution. And with this role and responsibility, I manage change, and I feel I'm empowered to do that here. I'm always looking for ways to improve our operations, whether it's with a new software program or a new platform, improving our processes, working close with our suppliers. It's really a fun place to work. We are a young company. We are still growing, and there's a lot of change that's always happening here, and it's fun to be a part of that change and to know that you get to have a voice in that change as well.
Yeah, that sounds it sounds amazing culture that you guys are curating and continuing to serve. It sounds like also it's with giving everyone a voice that you're building in that inclusion, which is incredibly important, and especially
Yeah.
for those of us that are, sometimes on um, uh, the less seen scale, if you will. So I guess tell me a little bit about the what you might be doing from how you're shaping your role to help others be included within this role in this field in the future, um, whether it be for more women or just more diversity in general. How are you bringing that diversity and inclusion within your role?
We are always, like I said, it's really just everybody having a seat at the table. We're always including everybody in the organization, and making those decisions. And um, yeah, I guess overseeing the distribution center, we're always looking for people who have ideas that on redoing our packaging or coming up with a better way, better shipping methods, or like I said, how we package our product. That's a really important role because they're always the first ones to see the product when it arrives in. And also when we ship it out, they're the last eyes on it to see. So that, for me, that's one of the places that I spend a lot of my time on in working with our team and coming up with ideas on what we can do better.
I think that's great. It's really allowing all of your employees to own the experience within the role and with what you're delivering to your customer base too then. Awesome. Are there any mentors who have significantly influenced your career or that you want to maybe give a special shout out to?
Oh my gosh. I have been blessed to work with some wonderful women in the past, actually. When you mention this and I think back on who has mentored me, it's been a lot of women actually. And I've had some two really great women who have stood out to me. Um, and what I appreciated the most from both of them, and gosh, I'm even thinking there's another one as well, is they really took the time to teach me where I lacked knowledge. They, whether it was them just noticing that I needed help or growth in this particular area, they would sit down with me and go through, hey, let's work on this. Or, I would seek them out and say, I want to better understand this. And it's everybody is so busy right now. And I mean, all the time, we're always busy with work. We all have our projects going on. We all have tasks. That it really means a lot when somebody sits down and takes time out of their day and will go through to help you better understand and improve those areas that you're struggling in to help you improve your role. So, I mean, for me, each place that I've worked, there's been a significant person who has stood out there that has helped me. Um, and yeah, I mean, like their success is my success and vice versa, right? I'm a big believer in teaching people to understand the full picture. Like, don't just assign somebody to a task and expect them to complete that task perfectly. Give them the reason of why they're doing the task. Let them see the big picture, because that's really what's going to help everybody be the most successful. And that's what these two women did. Is they took the opportunity to show me the big picture of what we're working on, why we're accomplishing it, helping me understand where I stood in that process. So it was really their time and dedication to teach and mentor me that had the biggest impact on me. Whether it's just being a better leader or understanding accounting. A lot of my role, I work closely with the accounting departments especially with
Yeah.
purchasing, and just kind of understanding how everything works and learning how to read all those accounting reports that can be incredibly overwhelming to
Yes.
especially young women. Sometimes that can be incredibly overwhelming when you're early in your career, and just learning how to do all that. That's been incredibly important to me. So, and I always try to pass that along too, is making sure that anybody on my team really sees the full picture.
I love that. I one of my favorite authors is Simon Sinek, and he always says start with the why. And I think that is such a key thing in leadership is yes, we want to be outcome driven, but in order to get to those outcomes, we have to understand why we're trying to do this and what's the importance of it. So I love that you've added that there. Another thing that you said that I appreciate the financial reports. I think that's an area that for me personally, that's always been something that I've always I don't know, shied away from isn't maybe the correct phrasing, but it has been kind of intimidating. So, financial acumen is incredibly important within business too. So I think that that's great that there's an opportunity to be able to share that with others too.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
well, in your opinion, what are some of the key skills or attributes that you've contributed that has contributed to your success? It sounds like these mentors have certainly influenced some of that already. And I imagine that you're taking that on within your mentorship and leadership as well, and helping others around you, supporting them by helping them see that why. But what other skills and attributes have contributed to your success?
So one thing I learned with working in small businesses and small companies is you really have to be a self-starter. And that is that is one skill set that I definitely have. I've always been a pretty independent woman, and um, I'm not afraid to just jump in there, and I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes I just start with the apology of, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask a lot of questions so that I can better understand that big picture." So I think that, I mean, it can be very scary to just jump in there sometimes, but that is something that I have learned to just overcome is being a self-starter, asking a lot of questions, and don't be afraid to fail. I
Mm.
think that's what stops a lot of people sometimes from jumping in and diving into certain things is they're scared to fail. And that's not a terrible quality either. That's a great quality, but you just kind of have to be okay with knowing that you may make a mistake, and it's about how we overcome those mistakes. Did we learn from those mistakes? Do we learn not to repeat them? What process can we develop from making that mistake to prevent it from happening again? That's also something that we talk a lot around here at the Galley too, is it's okay to make mistakes. It's how we overcome them and how we learn from them and grow from them. So I think that's been a big thing for me, is just really jumping in there, diving in, asking questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions, and learn from mistakes. And that's okay as
Yeah.
long as you don't repeat them.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think the key phrase there is learning a lesson from it, and keeping away from repeating the same thing there. I think I would agree with you that curiosity is something that I know as little kids, they're constantly asking questions all the time. Why? What? Where? When? All of those things.
Yes.
But and at some point you get afraid to kind of be that person that asks questions when you get into higher grades of education, and you don't want to raise your hand and you don't want to seem like you might know it or need some help understanding something. But I would absolutely agree that in business and life in general, being curious about things really just opens doors to learning new things and to understanding, and um, finding, actually being able to find the lessons learned in some of those failure points too. So I love that.
Absolutely.
Um, how do you think? So this International Women's Day theme this year is around inspiring inclusion. So I'm curious to get your thoughts on how you think we can better inspire women's inclusion.
Invite them to the table. Invite them to the table to have the conversations. Give them the exposure that they need to be successful. Especially like young women starting in their careers too. I think it's really important to involve them and make sure that every person has a voice, and every person should feel safe to share their ideas and their thoughts. So for me, I think it's really just, you know, have the meetings with them, have the one-on-ones with them, have conversations, get their ideas. I work with several young women, and it is it is so fun because I feel like they're so fresh with these great ideas, and just the AI world that we're living in right now and how it's evolving and keeping up with that. And some of these young women, they have really great fresh ideas that they bring to the company, and it's made us better, and it's made us go a great direction. So I think that's really what it is, you know, have meetings, have the one-on-ones, include them, and include them at in all of that. Like I said, just really giving them a seat at the table.
Yeah, that diversity of thought is a real thing. And being able to have generational differences in thoughts and ideas. And um, I think also, even when you bring them to the table, it's a learning opportunity for them too. What kinds of questions are being asked? What's top of mind for our leaders? What types of problems are we attempting to solve? And I think that just gives a better perspective in your own professional development and journey, in addition to actually being able to speak and offer your own opinion too. So I love that. I think the invitation is important for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, to wrap up with just one more question here, what advice would you give other women aspiring to be in roles like yours?
Don't stand back and wait for something to happen. Take initiative and be open to feedback. And take action on that feedback too. When you receive it, be open to hearing the different types of feedback and then take into account how you're going to take that feedback and act on it. And then learning to adapt to different people and approach people and meet them where they are. Um, get comfortable with being uncomfortable too. Kind of goes back to a little bit of that, just jumping in and being that self starter. Because being uncomfortable means you're learning and growing. Um, and then when you see the opportunity, raise your hand, raise your voice, just be heard and take that initiative to voice your opinion and give your ideas and just jump and go for it.
Yeah, I think not being afraid to just try something new is always, it will always maybe lead you to unexpected opportunities too. So I love that, jump right in, don't hold back.
Yeah.
Be willing to learn, be open to learning. That's fantastic. Well, Allison, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I love the insights that you've shared with us. I know that that will be incredibly helpful to other listeners too. So, thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.